Hello again. My name is Livi Michael. I'm the author of 20 books, one PhD thesis, several articles and short stories, and a play. I also run a podcast about short fiction called Small Pleasures, together with short story writer and translator Sonia Moore. I've taught creative writing for over 30 years and had an even longer relationship with the publishing industry. In that time, I've known many writers who've experienced difficulties with the publishing world, and I've been through some of those difficulties myself. During the 7 years or so that I couldn't get my novels published, I tried many different ways of getting back into publishing that were unsuccessful. I became very discouraged and unhappy, obsessed with the fact that no one wanted my work. Eventually, I stopped writing, which made me even more unhappy. I remember thinking at that time that life would be so much easier if I just wanted to write without sending it off to be rejected. But in fact, like most writers, I want to communicate. I want to get my work out there. And this was where the difficulties began. The problems I experienced triggered pessimism, anxiety, bitterness, to the point that they got between me and my writing. Each time I started to write, I was blocked by thoughts such as, "What's the use?" and "No one will want it anyway." What I was suffering from was a particular kind of creative sickness that comes from the interaction between the writer and the publishing world. Now, I've taught creative writing in a number of different contexts, and in almost all of them, the emphasis has been on publishing. And I've found that if you put two or more writers together in any context, the discussion will turn to how to get published, how to get an agent, what to expect from your agent, who has a book deal and who doesn't, whether one person's contract is better than another's, who is getting most publicity, etc. I'm not saying these questions aren't important, but invariably this kind of discussion is disheartening. Writers are generally in a position of chronic insecurity and disempowerment in relation to the publishing world. It can seem as though all the good news in publishing is happening to someone else. Even writers who are generally seen as successful can also be insecure, fearful that the next book may not do well, troubled by negative reviews, and so on. One of the most painful situations I've encountered is that of the writer who is phenomenally successful at the start of their career and then progressively less so. What I want to say is there are a number of ways in which the experience of the publishing world can be difficult. Maybe you have been burned by it. You expected more from it, perhaps. More sales, more money, more acclaim. Maybe your book has been published, but you can't find it in any bookshops. No one has reviewed it. It hasn't won any awards. The only celebration or launch for it is one you arranged yourself, inviting all your family and friends. Maybe you once had a flourishing writing career, but no one wants to publish you anymore. Or maybe you'd like to strike out in a different direction with your writing, but your publisher insists you stay within your own particular brand. You are definitely not alone. These situations have become tragically common. And yet publishing is still the holy grail for most writers, and the reason why so many people are on creative writing courses of one kind or another throughout the UK. Very often, these courses measure their success by how many of their students are published. This is also usually the student's own measure of success. While this is understandable, it does have the unfortunate effect of perpetuating the imbalance of power between the publishing world and the writer. As I said in the episode on industry, the publishing world has a business model that has been compared to that of drilling for oil. You sink the drill in any number of times before striking. Similarly, any number of books are published that are commercial failures, but one or two are massively successful. Maybe you're still waiting for that to happen to you. It happened to Barbara Pym after all. Barbara Pym published 5 novels, then between 1962 and 1975, she wrote 7 which were widely rejected. Then finally, one which was nominated for the Booker Prize. Sadly, this was shortly before she died. Similarly, Hilary Mantel wrote good novels for many years before achieving outstanding fame for her Cromwell trilogy. And We Need to Talk About Kevin by Lionel Shriver took some years to become a worldwide success. If you're still clinging to the hope that this might happen to you, the problem is that it might. That's part of the uncertainty of the experience of publishing and the mystery. There's no one formula for success and no easy equation between success and quality. Some best-selling books are excellent, some mediocre, and some bad. It's this random quality of what succeeds, along with the uncertainty, that keeps authors dangling on the hook of hope. It's a long shot. There are just so many writers out there, on creative writing courses, social media platforms, or in any number of jobs writing in their spare time, each of them secretly convinced they can make it. And almost every celebrity seems to be writing a book. Sometimes it seems to me that these days writers are like the factory workers in the Industrial Revolution. Expendable, powerless, easily exploited. There's a massive crowd of authors jumping up and down out there, hoping to be noticed. What can you do about it? Jump harder and higher? Or give up? Some people do. You can blame it all on the publishing world, who've clearly got it wrong. Sometimes they have. You can complain about more successful books, which, in all modesty, you do not believe are as good as yours. Sometimes you'll be right. Or you can carry on hoping that your turn will come. Maybe it will. The odds against it are high, however. It has been suggested that you'd have more chance of winning the lottery. For every Hilary Mantel, there are thousands of other writers whose work is ignored, invisible, and eventually dropped from the publishing lists. If you don't have a major breakthrough, what then? Do you get bitter, wish you'd never written, compare yourself constantly with other writers, or stop writing because each time you try, you're haunted by the spectres of failure and success? My point is that the uncertainty, the random quality, the disempowerment all feed into the sickness, the kind of sickness that can become a major depression or writer's block. If you feel blocked every time you try to write something by the conviction that it won't sell, or acute pangs of pain every time you hear about someone's success, and you will hear about it constantly via your newsfeed or social media, you need to recognize these as symptoms of a sickness that you've caught from your interaction with the publishing world. The root of the sickness is that you've handed over your power to a world that is notoriously unstable and unreliable, and from the point of view of the author, incompetent. This world has no interest in you, but only in sales. It's a little like falling in love with someone unreliable and chronically unfaithful, who may like you a bit, but nowhere near as much as you like them. If you're lucky, they may sleep with you on occasion. This person promises much but delivers little, is shallow and drops you when someone else comes along, won't reply to your emails, and will punish you for their own shortcomings. By the end of this relationship, you will believe that somehow its failure is all your fault. Essentially, this is an abusive relationship. If your child or someone you cared about was in a relationship like this, what would you say to them? Somehow you need to shift your center of gravity back towards writing and the creative process, and away from publishing, sales, reviews, awards, or comparisons with other people who will always be doing better than you, and it will always be undeserved. Such thinking is your enemy, whereas writing can be your best friend. If you allow it to, it will enrich your life in countless ways. You need to learn to appreciate your gift, to appreciate what it gives to you, what it teaches you, the kinds of journeys it takes you on, who you meet on those journeys. To me, writing is a gift because it's always there. When I wake up in the morning, I always want to do it. I get absorbed in it. It allows me to explore my own thoughts and feelings about the world and the people in it. It helps me to make sense of my experience. Also, every day it allows me to experience the mystery of creativity. How the mind comes up with its own solutions to the problems of plot, for instance, or how a particular image or line will come to me early in a story, and I've no idea why sometimes until the end, when I can see where it belongs, how it all fits together. I'm not suggesting that you stop trying to get your work published, just that you need for your own sanity to shift your attention, your centre of gravity, back towards your writing. It's vital to keep valuing your own creative gift, whether your work is rejected or not, and to stop investing so much into a situation over which you have so little control. To say that you're only going to write if you can be published, or make money, or become famous, or at least earn an income, is a little like saying you'll only take up running if you can win the Olympics. It's to continue to hand over your personal power to a deeply flawed and defective system that essentially doesn't care about you, because there are so many writers and they are all replaceable. This attitude or belief is your enemy or the enemy of your creativity. It will keep you dangling on the hook of an illusory promise. You'll suffer as long as you believe in the illusion of what the publishing world appears to offer. Your job is to keep the connection with your own creative process, and we'll look at how to do that in the next episode. Meanwhile, this is Livi Michael saying goodbye for now and wishing you happy writing.